So, a little while ago, like a couple days before recording, I think, I got a no context message from my girlfriend asking me in all caps how in the world Flamigo is a fighting type Pokemon. I've probably included it in the thumbnail. And this really caught me off guard because, one, it wasn't related to anything that we'd ever talked about before, and two, my girlfriend doesn't know very much about Pokemon. She hasn't played much at all in her life. I think she played Gen 3 as a kid. I don't know that she's played more than that, and if she has, it's not very much, and certainly nothing recent. So not only was I unable to explain at first why Flamigo is a fighting type, I ended up getting some help with that from Discord people. Apparently its body looks like a boxing glove, which I guess if you really squint, sure. But also, I was wondering, how does she even know what Flamigo is and what it looks like? And how does this question even come into her head? I mean, she gets lost pretty easily in the 1,000+ Pokemon because she's just not that interested in it and she doesn't have that kind of background knowledge. So where did this come from? And I asked, and from the conversation that we had, I was able to figure out that she had watched this short right here, which we'll watch. Actually, I'm not capturing audio, am I? I didn't make a new scene for this, as you could, I think you can tell. Well, it's probably subtitled. Okay, so they go with Armarouge first. I don't know who these people are, but they all say it's a fighting type. And of course they're mistaken. Armarouge is not a fighting type. Next was Machamp. Softball. And then there's one more, and there's Flamigo. I sort of see the boxing glove, a little bit. And I think they kind of sniff it out as a trick question. Also, apparently they're scary, and I would know that if I lived in Florida. Okay, so that was the short. And once I'd seen that, I knew where this had come from. I knew all the Pokemon that had been used in that game. I decided, in the short time that I had before I saw my girlfriend in person a little bit after that, I would extend the game a little bit for her. So let's hop on over to that. So, scrolling through the lists of every Pokemon on Bulbapedia, I picked out 10 of them to show to her, 5 that are fighting types, 5 that are not fighting types. I used random.org to scramble the order because otherwise I am someone who could very easily fall into something like an AB pattern. In fact, I actually used random.org twice because the first time it happened to do like 4 non-fighting types in a row, and I didn't like that. So I did it again and got something I considered more reasonable, but still random. And when my girlfriend got here, well, a little bit later, I showed her what I had done, and we walked through the exercise. And I told her that I incorporated randomness. I also tried to sort of imply that there was some randomness in how many of them were fighting types and how many were not. That was not the case. It actually was just a 50-50 split, but I didn't want to give that away. So this was the first one right here. I showed her Sirfetch'd. We'll see how she did with this game, right? And you know what? She had a very strong start to the game. She said, you know, that kind of looks like it has a sword and shield. That seems like something a fighting type would have. I think this is probably a fighting type. So, okay, 1 for 1. She knows that Sirfetch'd is a fighting type, and she had pretty solid reasoning to back it up. So let's see how this goes from there. Number 2 was Golurk. And she looked at this, and she said, that looks like it could beat me up. I think it's a fighting type. Okay, so she got one wrong. She's 1 for 2 now, but, you know, still pretty understandable. Obviously, I tried to be tricky with these. Let's see how she does with the next one. Number 3 was Barbaracle. And she looked at this and she said, that looks like it could beat me up. I think it's a fighting type. Okay, she's now 1 for 3. We had a strong start, but it's fading a little bit. But of course, there's 7 more Pokemon, and some of them are going to be fighting types. So, you know, still a lot of room to turn this thing around. But so far, she's very big on the that looks like it could beat me up angle. Let's see what Pokemon number 4 was. It was Zeraora. Now, I know a lot of Pokemon fans have some feelings about this one. My girlfriend looked at this and she said, that looks like it could beat me up. I think it's a fighting type. And with that, she was 1 for 4. Things were looking a little bit grim. And yes, the randomizer gave her 3 non-fighting types in a row, and yes, I considered that more reasonable than the first thing it had done. We're coming up on the halfway point now. Pokemon number 5. Can she start to turn this thing around? Abominable. Now, she was a little bit taken aback by this one. She sort of tried to sniff out loud what it was. She was like, okay. So it's a crab, and it's also an abominable snowman. Okay, that's interesting. Well, I think an abominable snowman could beat me up, so I think this is a fighting type. And of course, Crabominable is a fighting type. So she nailed that one. We're halfway through. She's just a little bit underwater. Number 6 was the Sneasler. And I want to say that she said, this looks like it could beat me up. I think it's a fighting type. I don't remember if that's exactly what she said. Maybe it was something like, oh yeah, those claws look really dangerous. But she was pretty sure that the Sneasler was a fighting type. And of course, she was correct. So we're now more than halfway through. We're at 6 out of 10, and she has gotten back to 500. So there's a lot of room for her to keep turning this around. But of course, there are 4 Pokemon left, and you, the viewer, know, but she herself did not, that half of them are fighting types. Number 7, classic, Incineroar. My girlfriend looked this one over. You can tell she's not a wolf head like me because she didn't really have any particular reaction to Incineroar. Let me know in the comments how long it took Incineroar to be mentioned here, by the way. And she said, okay, so clearly this is a fire type, right? This is definitely a fire type. But there's something else going on here. I think it has like a wrestling belt. You know, it kind of looks like a wrestler. It looks like it could beat me up, so I'm going to say yes, this is a fighting type. Another one wrong. She is unfortunately back under 500. Number 8, another shot at redemption. Beware. And she really pondered this one for a bit. By the way, I'm not sure I spelled its name correctly. I think I probably did. I didn't check. She pondered this one for a little bit, and this was interesting. She was like, the first thing she said was like, well, I don't know what else it could be. Kind of want to say it's a fighting type because if it's not, then what in the world is it? Also, it looks pretty strong. It looks like it could beat me up. I'm pretty sure a bear could beat me up. And, you know, the name is Beware. Maybe they're telling you to beware because this Pokemon is going to beat you up. So I think it is a fighting type. I told her she was correct. It is a fighting type. But it does have one other type. Because where she said she couldn't imagine anything else it could be, I told her it does have one other type. She couldn't think of what that would be, and when I told her that it's normal, she just kind of scoffed. Pokemon number 9, almost to the end. Ceruledge. I picked Ceruledge because, of course, Armarouge was the first one in the short that she watched. And I sort of wondered whether she would spot the relationship between the two. I don't know whether she did. She didn't say anything about it. But she looked at that. She's like, okay, it has some swords. I hadn't even really considered the sword angle, right? Because she sniffed out... I mean, Sirfetch'd really has a lance, but she sniffed that out with that Pokemon, and it helped her get onto the right track. But she saw this. She said, okay, it has some swords. Looks pretty dangerous. Looks like it could beat me up. I think it's good. I think it's a fighting type. Unfortunately, she's wrong. So she's 4 for 9 so far, and more importantly, you might have noticed she has said yes every single time so far. Okay? Pretty much every Pokemon has gotten some version of, that looks like it could beat me up, so I think it's a fighting type. I mean, that's what she said about Golurk, Barbaracle, Zeraora. She got a little bit more specific with some of the others, like Incineroar and Beware. But she has said yes every single time, and at this point I'm thinking it's intentional. And I think she is just going to fall back on the same reasoning for every Pokemon that I show her, and maybe that was a flaw of setting up this game, such that I show her Pokemon that look physically imposing. And so I think there's one Pokemon left. You and I know that it's a fighting type. She doesn't know that. But she's just saying yes every single time, so she's going to go 5 for 10. It's a pretty fine strategy here, right? She's gonna go 500. It's gonna be solid. All these Pokemon look like they could beat her up, and some of them could. Some of them are fighting types. Then I showed her Pokemon number 10, and it was Pheromosa. And she looked at this and she said, that looks like a bug. I told her, yeah, it does look like a bug. But of course, remember, a Pokemon can have 2 types. So this one could be bug and something else. What do you think? She thought it over some more. She said, no, this one looks like a bug. How's this going to beat me up? It's not a fighting type. Folks, she had not been doing it intentionally. She did not know until I told her afterward that she had said yes every single time up to this point, with largely the same reasoning throughout. She had not noticed that pattern, and she broke it at just the wrong time. We finally found a Pokemon that she did not think looked like it could beat her up. She said that Pheromosa was not a fighting type, and she finished with a score of 4 out of 10. That's it. There's not really a point to this exercise. I didn't do it for content. I did it just for a fun little goof with my girlfriend. It was actually her idea to make it content. She told me that I could, and I went, huh, well, in that case, maybe I will. But yeah, that's how she did it, guessing fighting types. If you're a Pokemon fan with some opinions on... Hey, if you have some feelings about Incineroar or Zeraora, obviously I tried to pick some Pokemon that stir those kinds of feelings in people. Just know that you have that validation now. She definitely looked at those Pokemon and thought that they could beat her up. And I'm just going to end on the images so that if you want to show this to someone else and see how they do, let me know in the comments. You can do that. So this is Pokemon number 1 for the exercise. This is number 2. This is number 3. This is number 4. This is number 5. This is number 6. This is number 7. This is number 8. This is number 9. This is number 10. So if you want to play the game at home, there you go. That's totally free for you now. Maybe I'll try another type with her sometime. I don't know, we'll see. But just a silly little story time here. Or just show someone a Flamigo and see how they react to that.